Online. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Coffee Time with Coach Ja. I have an amazing guest for y'all today. I'm excited about today. I have a lot of things planned, a lot of things set up for today. A lot of this journey is really starting to take off. Yesterday was such a busy day for me. Um, I have plenty of planning to do and all of that good stuff. I'm hoping that you all are having a great and amazing day today. Make sure you do whatever you can to make this day great and amazing. Trust me, you got everything you need to do so. If you have your coffee cups ready, raise them up. Take a nice deep swallow or tea. I know some of y'all don't drink coffee. It could be tea. There's nothing wrong with tea. You're welcome to have some tea as well. But yes, I'm hoping that your morning has already started off amazingly. And my morning is outstanding. And then my homie is in the building. So my morning is about to be even better because he's super dope. Y'all don't even know what y'all in for. So if you're familiar with the show, you know we come on. It's just coffee time. We're just having some conversation with good friends of mine that are doing some amazing things in the community. And I definitely I asked them just a few questions, but it's really all about them today. I'm just here. I'm just the host, just kind of guiding the ship through. So if you would just prepare yourselves for some super dope. I can't even go on. Like I can't even tell you so much that this brother's doing. I'm gonna let him come on and explain to you the things that he does and who he is and all that good stuff. So without any further shenanigans from me, right? Because y'all know I will talk you to death. I will talk you to your ears turning blue. I'm gonna bring my homie in the building. Y'all welcome in the one and only Mr. LJ. Well, yo, son, look at the coffee cup. So, okay, bro. Where did you get that coffee
from? Funny you should ask. First off, thank you for letting me on the platform, bro. I definitely appreciate it. Glad I can spend this morning with you. So my wife actually got this for my birthday. I had another one. I got like a couple of coffee mugs, but my wife surprised me with this for my birthday. She just came in, was like, "Hey, happy birthday!" All of a sudden, because being a big nerd, she had to get me. Had to do it. So
hold it up so I can let IG see that cup. Look at that, man. Are you kidding me? Mario Brothers jump off. Yo, it don't get no better than that. It don't get no better than that. So listen, I like my guests to tell the people who they are and what they do in your own way. Only you can tell us who you are. So let them know who you are, let them know where you're from, and all that good stuff. You know how this works.
Cool, man. Greetings and salutations. My name is first off, what up though? My name is Lawan Bowens. Everybody knows me as LJ Bowens. I am a spoken word artist. I am an author, poet, event host, event coordinator, motivational speaker, coach, and trainer through the John Maxwell team. Director and founder of the Southeast Region of North Carolina Poetry Festival. And I also host panels at Comic-Cons and at other events that deals with nerd stuff known as the Nerd Slam.
Nerd Slam.
Oh, to wrap all that up.
The Nerd Slam. Let's talk about that for a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first time I was able to see it was in Greensboro.
Okay.
And I wasn't. I didn't know what I was headed for. And Wits and I walked in, and Wits was like, "Yo, they've got a Nerd Slam, bro. We need to be there." Because Wits is like a comic book god. Like he had all the comic books. Our younger brothers destroyed all his comic books, and my nephews. He was just, when he moved, he decided to give them gifts. He said, "Listen, this is not toy stuff because this stuff is worth money. Don't mess this up." And they just destroyed it. But anyway, and we walked in, and I learned so much about freaking Star Wars and I don't remember what it was, but there's so many different things that I didn't even know. All these planets and galaxies inside planets and galaxies. I was like, what in the world? What is the Nerd Slam, and how did you start that whole thing up?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So let's start from the beginning. So when I was slamming on the Bull City Slam team in 2014, went to my first ever national poetry slam competition. So the Nerd Slam is was already an established idea that they did at nationals. And then I know during Southern Fry, everybody kind of did like nerd open mics. I think Moody Black, when they did Southern Fried in 2014, they did a nerd slam type thing, but I think it was just more like nerd poems in a slam format, like a poetry slam competition format. So when I actually saw the nerd slam that was established with Nats, I enjoyed it. Like, I love the whole aspect of two people getting up there and basically like having a battle of the bands or a battle of the brands in a sense. So it was like My Little Pony versus Wolverine or something like that. And it had a panel that would ask people questions on their particular nerd topic or what they felt they was nerdy in. It was two things I did not like how they did it. One, it was basically you're only competing against each other just to get the chance to do a nerd poem, and that was it. So there was really like no set winner to a whole thing. It was basically people are competing against each other just to get the chance to do a poem. And then I hated the fact that the people that was on that particular panel, and I heard about it afterwards, like years later, like before, and even before I went there, that they would nerd shame a lot. And I hate when people do that, because it's like, how can you sit here and try and tell somebody they're not nerdy enough if they don't know a question? I mean, because one thing, it's certain, whatever you feel you're nerdy in, it's so much context to whatever you're nerdy in. So sometimes you're not going to be able to remember everything just like that. I mean, you'll know certain things, but you will not know everything just like that. You have to think about it. Number two, you got like hundreds of people looking at you trying to make sure you remember all this stuff. So it was like, I didn't like that. So 2016, the year you came, when we was in Greensboro, that was actually my first time ever doing it at Southern Fried. So like, I test ran it at Comic-Con events that I started doing. Okay. And the Comic-Con events, it blew up big because we just took out the whole poetry aspect, but we just kept the question format. But when it came to actually involving the poetry, that is when that was our first time actually doing it, not knowing what would it be successful or not for Southern Fried. And then soon as we did it, like, so many people came out, and if you know me, especially how we do events or how I do events, I promote my events hard. Like, I go hard for promoting my events. Like, I feel like a lot of places they can promote it, but I know I always feel like nobody will go as hard as me when it comes to promoting something that I'm attached to. So I'm going to go hard to promote that event too. So I made sure to hype it up and say, y'all don't want to miss it. We're going to have some stuff there. Then I had my homeboy, DJ Prodigy, who's now in San Diego, come out and was DJing the whole thing. So like, all that music y'all was hearing, he was up there DJing. Like, he was DJing, mixing, and everything. Right. So that's what made us that Nerd Slam that everybody knows now, not only in like Southern Fried lore, but just like, in all honesty, across the country, because everybody knows about it. Like, it's been a fun thing. It's been a fun ride. And then even if you go to the past ones and look at how we do it now, a lot of the things we started tweaking year after year after year to make it like almost a seamless format. Yeah. Make sure everybody has fun, man. Because at the end of the day, I want people to have fun. And when it comes to nerd stuff, man, you never know what people are nerdy in. And yeah, man. So yeah, Nerd Slam.
That Nerd Slam, I never felt more dumb in my entire life. Like, I was like, I did not know.
Look, see, here's the thing though, it's like you shouldn't feel dumb, because so you know how like with even comic books, there's like multiverses of certain things. Right. Like, everything has like a pocket to it. So like, if you knew, which this actually happened at 1 year at Southern Fried, and this actually happened when we did one at BlurCon. Somebody wanted to do the Friday franchise. So when we asked them to be specific, so if you just want the movie context, you can do the movie context. We'll just ask you stuff based on the story. But if you say it don't matter, then we can ask you anything. And certain people knew like the production notes behind the movie, how long it took to film the movie, and stuff like that. So it's like, you can't really say you feel dumb in one thing, because if you only know that one particular thing that you feel far, then that's fine. It's just if you say, yo, I want to do everything and try to expand on it, then that's when you like do more research. Because sometimes you're not going to know all that stuff. I can't sit here and tell you I know any and everything about it, because there's still times I research certain things that I didn't know about. And I'm not going to get into it, but like, me and my wife was talking about Lovecraft Country recently, that just had their season finale. And there's a part that happens at the end that I don't think a lot of people paid attention to, dealing with D. I'm not going to say what it is, but you have to go back some episodes to see what that ending meant as far as her. So I'll just leave it at that and let people do their own research.
I will say that I didn't realize like so much depth to being in comics and magazines, movies in itself, right? Like we get this part of it, but it's so much that's behind it. The Nerd Slam had actually helped. So I've been with the Slam Culture Respect the Mic Slam since 2016. So we actually, when we went to Fayetteville, right, and we did the girls did the X-Women poem.
Yes.
That poem, right, actually shot Respect the Mic Slam to another because everybody came for the Nerd Slam. It filled up almost like it was final stage, right?
Yeah, I know, right? That was crazy.
I turned around, it was standing room only, and it was like, wow, we could not do it during COVID, right? It just wouldn't happen. And when they got up and did the X-Woman poem, the fact that they was asked to do it already took me some. I don't know. Did you ask them to do it?
No, they came up and signed up to want to do the poem. So but real quick, I just want to put up. I want to give a shout out to the Mainbridge Library and a lot of people in Fayetteville because like the biggest thing is like there was people in there I didn't know and people I haven't seen. And this is just a personal story for me. People I haven't seen in years since I started poetry because when we started doing open mics, a lot of people would come out. A lot of us started doing different stuff. Like the person that shot the dope video they made that was like the recap of the video. He used to be a poet, but then he started going into learning film, and he's doing big things with film now. And then there's another person that does Broadway now, came through with shooting pictures. And then there was some people that was just in the area that helped that just wanted to come out and see what it was even all about that just supported the Mainbridge Library. So yeah, there was like maybe 85% of people from Southern Fried, but then the other 15% was from people just like in Fayetteville and surrounding like counties that just came through to see that event.
Man, that was in all honesty, that was one of the highlights for me of that year, being in Fayetteville. That was one of the highlights. I did not know that Lady V, Elaine, and Shannon, I didn't know they were going to do until we got there. It was like, yeah, we just gonna. I know they said we're gonna be up after somebody, I forgot, and I was really excited to see Slangston. Like, bro, I don't care who you are. If you like any words, you can't wait to hear Slangston get up there. So I was really excited about that. Let me ask you this: poetry in itself. What does poetry mean to you? What is that? When you hear the word poetry, what does that mean to you?
To me, it's a few definitions. For me, it's creativity. It gives you the opportunity to create a lot of things. Like one of my mentors has said, and it stuck with me, that when you create poetry, just like when you create any story, you're basically God. So you're creating your own world on paper. But also it is the one genre of art where you're like, so you know how you have people that are novelists and they're telling like a story and it's a novel. That's cool. Okay. But poetry is a way of storytelling that has multiple ways of you telling that story. Either you're doing something by free verse, sonnet, villanelle, tanka, senryu, epic, lullaby, lyric, letter. There's so many ways you can like tell a story, but they giving you certain parts of doing it. They call it poetry. So I mean, poetry is just like it's an overall genre within subgenres. It's kind of like how they do music now, and you say there's R&B or hip hop, but now when you look at the grand scheme of things, when it comes to those, there's certain type of those genres now, and that's how poetry. Like poetry is the beginning of all of that to me. So it's like it's a great way of storytelling. Just multiple ways of how you can be creative with telling that story. Whether you're doing it in 5 minutes and 76 seconds, or you're doing it with 17 syllables. I mean, it's just however you decide to look at it, man.
Yeah. I've learned so much through slam poetry. I don't know if you know this story, but I was like, I didn't dislike slam poetry. I just was like, I'm not judging nobody's poem. And I went to, when Nats was here last time, I went to Nats and I was saying to myself, well, let me just go be a judge just because, right? And it was I'm judging a poem. This woman was talking about having to abort a baby in order to keep a man. Ah, broke my heart. And then this other guy's his poem was about why he dates fat women over skinny women. So as a judge, I'm like, how do I balance this? And then I said, you know what? That's the freaking magic right there. The fact that it doesn't matter what the content is how the content moves you. And I said, I've heard some horrible slam poems. I've read some horrible slam poems. I've slammed some horrible slam poems. And then I had to realize that every poem's not a slam poem. Doesn't mean that poem's not a good poem, but it's probably better on the page than it is on the performance. And I didn't see that until Blackberry sat me down. Because Blackberry said, listen, I want you to take over my baby. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. After dealing with the slam poets I've dealt with, I'm good. And she sat me down and we talked about it. This is after I spent some time coming to her classroom and talked to her students and stuff like that. And she really broke it down to me. So I'm saying all that to say, slam poetry, give me your top 3, if you could. It could be more if you want, but your top 3 ever slam moments. And that's whether you was slamming, hosting, judging, just being an audience, the moments.
All right. So when I think of top 3 for me, and these are going to kind of be like, these are going to be more personal. I'll be honest, they're going to be personal. So my top 3 moments, number 1, and this ain't in no particular order, by the way. Number 1, it was Southern Fried 2011. Okay. This was after the passing of Will Bell, Will the Real One. And at final stage, a collective of the Florida poets, I believe it was like 11 of them, maybe more. And I pray the video is still on YouTube. They took his So I Run poem and they turned it into like an 11 or 13 man group piece. And seeing
got chills, bro.
And seeing the Florida scene come together and do that for such a fantastic brother that put so much into his community and the poetry community was definitely something that was momentous. Like, I've never seen no one do that. And then just the respect of seeing people do that, like that was a beautiful thing. So that's 1. Number 2 would be 2014 Bull City winning Southern Fried. Not because I was on the team and won it with them, because there's a big story to, like, I can't get into all of the details, but there's a big story within that whole magic year of Bull City, because I went through a year of basically slamming. This is coming off of like a lot of like issues with the summer prior to making Bull City, and I just started writing and finding my way again. And I won Grand Slam final for Marquis Slam, won Grand Slam final for Slam Charlotte, and then I tied for Grand Slam final champion with LB from Bull City. And then it was like, I've never had this happen before, nor was it the anytime somebody's ever done this in North Carolina. So I've always so that's already momentous in this occasion because nobody has ever done that. Right. But it was when it came down to picking a team, I think a lot of people looked at it a certain way, and like, because I didn't go with Fayetteville. That's the big thing. So I didn't go with Fayetteville because I stay in Fayetteville. Right. But I had to look at it from the perspective of what I needed at that time. And I chose to be with a team of poets. I literally, from the time I started doing poetry like professionally up to that point, to go with the team I literally kind of grew with. So that's like back in 2009, I believe, was when I first met Desan. Desan came down and did a slam that me and a group of poets did together, and I met Desan from there. So I always looked at Desan like, yo, this is dope. Who is this dude? He's dope. Yeah. But then when I started getting on my footing, I met LB and iShine when I used to do stuff with UNC Greensboro, going to their open mics or helping host open mics for a lot of stuff they were doing. And then I met Micah the year we made the team. But just knowing Desan, LB, and Ashad, and like the 10 year, like almost the 10 years of us, or more than 10 years, I think, probably doing stuff. It just made sense. And then like everybody had their doubts about a lot of us too. I won't get to no names. I remember names, but like a lot of people had doubts, and a lot of people had doubt within me as far as like the work I would do.
Yeah.
But that year, winning Southern Fried, it kind of was like the step, like you don't need the approval of people because you've already been working hard for it. And then Tavis, God rest his soul, Octavius, he had sent the message out. He had sent the message out to us personally, and he had sent me a message too. And that kind of like, that's why that year will always be like a special, like almost always a special memory of Slam for me. And then third, I don't know if you know her or not, but there's a poet here by the name of Yolanda A. Barnes, go by the name of Yogi with Two Eyes.
Yes.
She is the reason why we do Slam in Fayetteville. She in 2009 heard about Southern Fried when it was in Durham, and she went as an indie. None of us knew nothing about Southern Fried. She went as an indie, and it was the last day they did Southern Fried. When she told me to come down there with her, come up to Durham with her, and I went. That's when I met a few poets and saw a few poets I didn't know, and I just saw like the whole festival. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Let alone they had the Poe MCs hosting, and they had Camp Low as an opening act. So it was like crazy seeing all this. So it was like, yo. And when it was all said and done, she was like, she's like, did you enjoy it? I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah. Now we need to form a team. Now we need to make a team for Fayetteville to start doing some stuff. And then that's how Fayetteville Fire came to be. And then that's how we got introduced to the grand scheme of things when it comes to like Slam on a grander scale than just our city or just other local spots.
Right. Wow. I tell you, the history you learn just by conversation. I didn't know any of that stuff. In fact, I'll be honest, like Bull City had been one of my favorite teams. I think Say What had been, because Say What, Slam Moody and them had been the squad that had been so supportive of my brother and I. You know what I'm saying? From the beginning. Like when we met them, it was like obviously the first Slam poets we met was Slam Charlotte poets. But Say What Slam used to come up every Tuesday. I mean, they just lived with us. I mean, because you've been to my spot too.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait a minute. Were you at my spot?
I was the spot where your car got hit.
Right?
We ain't gonna get into that story though. That's a trademark moment in my career. I will never forget that.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know how was that night? Because we had a packed house that night. Number one,
it was good. It was so it was awesome. And then it was around the time when me and my wife now of almost 3 years, we were still like kind of in the dating stage. So it was awesome. It was awesome seeing it. Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. Little glass. It's fine. But it was awesome being there and then not knowing what was going on because the lights started flashing. So I was thinking to myself, either somebody's car got hit or the cops are about to come in here and arrest somebody on site. Whatever it's going to be, I'm here for it as long as it ain't me. So that's the whole thing that was floating through my head at that time. But it was a good night. It was a great night.
Bro, somebody came inside and came and said, hey, listen, whose event is this? And I'm like, it's my event, And they said, somebody's car got hit outside. You might want to say something on the mic. So I don't know. I don't think I had introduced you because I think I had Jay Ward bring you up.
Yeah, Jay Ward brought me up.
So somebody was on the mic. I stepped outside, saw the police. I saw my car in a whole nother parking spot. In a whole different parking spot, right? So I came back inside. I asked Jay Ward, I said, Jay, can you please do that? I need to step out here. And it was horrible, man. Totaled my car and everything, bro. I don't think you featured for me since then.
But it wasn't for the lack of trying. Like it was always stuff that came up because as artists, I think what ends up happening is we always have spots we want to go back to. I don't care what no artists say. There's always spots you love and spots you would love to go back to. Yeah. But when I guess the calling of your art becomes bigger, you get a lot of bookings, and then you try to like get to working around to where you can get to a certain place, and then sometimes stuff comes up where you can't make it there, even if you do set a date, something comes up. Because I think the last time I was going to try to come there, it was going to be for I think it was a collaboration event you and Bugsy Calhoun was doing. I think it was like the We Are King Slam. Yeah. But then something happened where I couldn't make it. I think it was like the old job I had wouldn't let me off that day or something like that. So
yeah. Let me ask you this. Speaking of Slam, what would you like to see happen next with Slam? And that could be eliminating some of the ills of it or whatever. Just what do you think? And I know that's a list, right? So just you know what you want to share.
I think the big thing, and I'll be honest with you, the one thing, in all honesty, you will never get rid of in Slam is going to be the aspect of egos. Let's just be honest. I think the big thing with Slam is that some of us get caught up in our heads. Some of us do dope poems. Some people think that they're above others, and I think the competition, the fun fact of competition, because competition, I'm not gonna even lie, I don't slam. If I slam now, it's like very rare because I stopped slamming because I'm doing other stuff. But I think the aspect of Slam, that whole aspect of competition, is made in a way where, yes, it's a competition, but it's supposed to be something you learn from and something you have fun with. But there is so many people that become sore losers to the fact, and that's what takes away from it. And I think what ends up happening is it clouds judgment, and then people take things personal when you shouldn't take things personal in Slam. But I will say the one thing I do hope that Slam started doing, and this is more so for Slam festivals and not just individual slams that happen in a day. But then again, depending on the type of slam you do, because there's different types of slams you can do, this can be possible as well, is bring in the component of mental health. And what I mean by that is that I did a slam for North Carolina Museum of Art for an event that was put together by a nonprofit called Stand Up Speak Out that deals with domestic violence and abuse and everything of that nature. And we literally had to do poems based off of paintings, but because of the intensity and how intense the poems could be because of them being those type of poems, if anybody was triggered in a room, they had like health specialists on the side or mental health specialists on the side. So like if somebody gets triggered, they can run out, talk to that person. The person would try to calm them down or something of that aspect. And then when it comes to festivals, I think just the aspect of saying, hey, we have a festival, but you know how we always do like workshops and stuff for festivals before like the slams later, just have a mental health component on how we could talk about dealing with mental health, have like a mental health specialist lead something like that. I know the year Lance did it in Louisville, I believe, there was a back room somebody did where I think they just did like yoga or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's way in like not using yoga as a practice and saying, hey, we're doing yoga because it's for healthy reasons. I mean, that's good too, but they use it in the aesthetic of healing to like calm down stress, because festivals get stressful. Like, I don't care how much fun you can have at a festival, festivals can get very stressful. Like, I would know attending festivals, hosting an event at festivals, and directing a festival myself. They can become the most stressful thing ever. So that would be one component I would love to see with Slam, just that. I mean, as far as the scoring, the random judges, I think that holds its place where it needs to hold its place, because you wouldn't want set judges. Like, you don't want to do a set judge, especially if the set judges know your work, or if they don't know your work, but somehow they hear about you, especially if you're an artist that do bigger than other artists, and that's not saying nothing bad. But if a judge has heard your name more than they heard the other artists, chances are they may gravitate a little bit towards your work.
Absolutely.
Unless the other person blow you out. I mean, but that can happen too. So
that can happen too. I like the idea of having the random judges. I don't think that needs to stay exactly that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I've heard some poems that have been amazing, but were performed horribly, or performed a mediocre level, and the poems that the writing might not have been really great, but the performance. And what I try to tell my team, if your poem is complete, we're not talking about the content of the poem now. I want you to live this poem. When you become the poem, when y'all become one, it sends it to another level, and that's what the judge needs to see. And I think I can't say we don't, just say I think with the younger people, I think they need to understand that aspect more. I'd love to see that mental health aspect to slams. I am working on some things with mental health too. To
Nice.
Well, I think we all need it, but I think they need to hear Black men talking about it more.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with you 100% on that. I think we don't do enough poems or just have stories where Black men can talk about how it is to be vulnerable. Now, if you're wondering why I'm moving like this, I'm trying to get this glass up. I'm multitasking. That's what I do. But yeah, I think like I agree with you 100% about that. Like I think there needs to be more discussions about that, like black men and vulnerability. And I had to learn through that. Like I've been one of the most guarded people until like the past few years. I literally got myself back together as far as like letting myself be vulnerable because I have very, 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 very hard trust issues after some years, man, of letting people in, thinking they were friends. And so I've learned to be better about that, but I'm still allow myself to still be vulnerable when I need to be vulnerable because you can't hold that stuff in all the time because it eats you up, man. And it makes you become almost stoic in a sense. Like you become nonchalant to things like somebody can pass and you feel it, but you can't show it. It's just like, damn, that's messed up. But you got a straight face. And it's not that you don't care. It's just that you've hardened yourself to that point.
And that's horrible. We had a conversation about this, I think about 2 weeks ago. And I said, the thing about it is I hate the man up term. I said, it is a term that I hate. I hate when somebody says man up. If we play in a sport and it's a brutal sport and you say man up, how about if we play in basketball and you say man up? Well, how about there's some WNBA players that can't man up, that work harder than men do? You know what I mean? So stop using that. I hate, and we've all known it, right? We've grown up with that man up, don't cry, this and that. And we've become such a hard, especially these young guys now. They don't know what it's like to say, look, man, I got a splinter and it hurts. They just walk with broken fingers and gunshot wounds and just keep on moving like nothing's happening, man. And I think that's the biggest problem. But there's a lot of people here that are talking about some things, and I'm trying to incorporate it. I got a few major projects that I'm putting together. I'm definitely gonna reach out to you, bro, because your work ethic is ridiculous. Like I know if you in. You know what I mean? That's one thing I learned. And then I'm glad that you mentioned that because that just opened up another thing that I want to introduce you to as well. So we'll definitely get to that, man. But I think that's a major thing to add to. I think that's part of what kind of rocked the boat with Nats.
Because I never went, like I quit. 2016 was my last year when it was in Decatur. Mm-hmm. And then I took a year off. I was gonna try to slam afterwards. And I missed Bull. This is a funny story. I'll go ahead and say it. So Bull City did their slam team for 2018.
Okay.
The final round, I believe it was me, iShine, LB, Curtis Levon, and Yana. So I think I'm trying to remember. No, and Millie, Millie. So it was Millie. I think Ayana won. Millie came in second, and then it was me, LB, iShine, and Levon left to find out what the scores were. So the scores literally was, I think it was LB 88.5, iShine 88.5. Curtis Levon, 88.5. LJ, 88.4.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy, but it was fun. Like I wasn't mad. Like everybody's like, are you straight? I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's a slam. I'm cool. Because at the end of the day, I was like, if I would have made it, I would have made it. If I didn't make it, I still was going to go to Southern Fried anyway, and I still was going to have fun. But I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, I'm straight. Because like, at the end of the day, it's slam. Like I said, I'm at the point now, like I understand slam to the point, like if I don't win, I am literally cool with it. I would joke about it and assess it and be like, okay, that's cool. Well, I'll probably do another slam in like 6 months or maybe depending on how I feel. So it never was like a end all be all at the end of the day. Because I think I almost got caught in the whirlwind of wanting to slam so much, but then I had to think, what does my career look like when slam stops?
I was just going to ask that question.
So that is what literally boiled down to.
Let's look at this, LJ. Let's suppose that all you and I did was slam.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when COVID drops in?
Exactly. And this was so the good and the bad of this whole situation was that it opened up a lot. It closed a lot of doors and it opened up a lot of doors. Like this, as an artist, I think was a time to reassess your brand if you are saying you have a brand.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit here and say that I really struggled too much. I did have a point when I was worried because I work part time at the Boys and Girls Club. So when all this hit, it literally hit the same day I was hosting an event when Yogi was doing. I had a hosted event where Yogi doing a one woman show.
Okay.
So when they shut down everything and said schools were shut down in North Carolina and all that stuff, the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, I'm laid off of work. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So as soon as that happened, that Saturday night, I went ahead and applied for unemployment. Like I didn't wait till later. I applied the time I heard from it.
Right.
So the unemployment helped, but at the same time, it was like I got to figure out what to do because I'm not going to just. And I told me and my wife sat down and said, I'm like, I'm not just going to sit here because my wife's working, but I told her, I'm like, I'm not going to let you be the only person handling stuff here. I will figure it out. So that's what I literally started looking into. All my resources of what I've done over these past few years. Yeah. I started making calls. I started saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So I strategically put myself in a position where either I was going to submit to do projects or I was going to reach out to people to see, hey, because of this happening, how can we do certain things? So like with Wounded Warrior Project, we took everything virtual. When it came to certain college events, we did things. We made a couple of events virtual. When it came to my own shows, one show stopped, the other one I made virtual. But because of me doing this platform, I was able to create 2 more shows that picked up. One dealing with nerd stuff that, like we were talking about earlier, that I do with Ebony Payne and Moses West. And then there's another show that I do where it's literally like this, but I'm having conversations with artists of different mediums. Like the first show is with Tony Todd of Candyman and Final Destination. The next show after that was with an artist, HIV activist that done stuff with Alicia Keys, who used to stay here in Fayetteville. And then the last one we had Megan Hollandsheed, which is the original voice of Nurse Joy from the Pokemon. So it was like I found ways to keep active. And then even with the Comic-Con scene, we did events. We could do nerd slams, but we did nerd poetry jams. And I brought folks with me to rock out, like Dennis Amadeus and Dane Maynard did 2 events with me. So my whole focus was use what I've already have, build on it, and hopefully it will sustain me enough to get through the year. So when everything kind of starts opening back up, I can start doing all the physical events again and stuff like that. But also, if I had the opportunity to help put on people to a bigger audience, looked at, I use that opportunity to help get other artists involved. Because at the end of the day, man, I feel as artists, I mean, at the end of the day, take care of yourself. By all means, you're an artist, you got to take care of yourself. If that's what you do, that's what you need to do. But I think that if you have the opportunity to help put people in a light that they will not be seen before, like they're used to their market, but you say, hey, I know your work. Let me introduce you to this. And dude, and like I said, I'll open the door for you. It's up to you to walk in. And that's the biggest thing, man. Because so many people done it for me. So I would be remiss if I didn't do it for other people. Not saying that I'm well off and I'm rich, because I'm not, but I've had a great harvest because of making sure I planted the seeds earlier in my career in order to build on stuff now when this happened. So last but not least, even with the unemployment money, I don't know what people did with their unemployment money, especially when the $600 was coming in. I saved a lot of my money. So I care what bills I need to take care of and the rest been in savings. So
Right. I tell you, COVID was shutting things down, right?
Yes.
And I was gearing up for a presentation with Kevin Love for the Cavaliers.
Wow.
Playing against they was playing against the Hornets. It was coming here. They had 2 mental health panels. I was supposed to perform at one panel and then sit with some folks on the other panel.
Nice.
And then be at the game that night. That was Friday. COVID shut down Wednesday. Bro.
Man.
I was sitting here every day on the news. I had CNN on lock. I was like, come on, do it Saturday. Please, Saturday.
But that's the funny thing about COVID, man. They're like, even with our poetry festival, the curse and the gift. So with our poetry festival, it was supposed to went down in April, and then with everything going on COVID, we were going to shut it down. But I was like, you know what? Let's move to September to see how everything pans out. Mm-hmm. But then stuff was still looking like it wasn't going to be able for us to do it physically. So I was like, so we was about to shut down. I was like, you know what? I've been doing this StreamYard thing for a minute. So let's try to, I was like, let's do the poetry festival virtual. And we planned our whole poetry festival. And I'll be honest with you, because of it being virtual, this is probably one of the best ones we've done. Wow. Because we were able to get more people involved. Like the sound was able to get involved. We had poets coming from across the country getting involved. Yeah. Cuban from Los Angeles was on one of the panels. Like we did so much stuff virtually. And then we had an after party. Mm-hmm. For the festival. We had DJs playing from San Diego, streamed in, doing an after party. But it's just, that's the ingenuity of taking a bad situation and making it into something good.
Yeah, man. It was a ride. It's still a ride. Definitely. Up, but it is exactly what you said. It was your chance to decide whether or not you have a brand or you're just here. And Granny's Boys was reinvented in some ways. Respect to Mike was reinvented in some ways. A lot of things turned out to be differently. And I'm really grateful for that, because it was initially I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Everything just kind of shut down. And I don't have a silver spoon. I wasn't born with one.
Neither was I, brother. So
enough about slam. Let's talk about family life. What does family life mean to you?
Lord, yeah, man, this is a good one. So family life it's near and dear to me a lot more so now than it has been. And it's only because of a way of growing up. And when I mean by way of growing up, I feel like when I was younger, I would always get picked on a lot by the family. Like, because I was like real nerdy, geeky, everything like that. So originally born in Detroit, Michigan, ended up moving to Lima, Ohio before coming to North Carolina because of the military. Yeah. So I established that right there. And I think what ended up happening was I almost at one point had an issue with my family when I got older. And it's only because when I came back, my family thought that I was being sedity. When I was talking to them and I was like, no, I'm not being sedity, because my mom told me about it. And I was like, no, I'm not being sedity to the family. I was like, they're not used to me saying anything back to them. It's a difference. it's a difference. But years later, man, I mean, family's important. Like I talk to my mom almost every other day. I talk to my cousins a lot more because we're like a few of us are spread out now. Because like most of the big chunk of the family is still between Ohio and Michigan. But like me and a few of my cousins, we're all in the South now. I'm here. Cousins are in Atlanta, Georgia, and other places. And then being a father too plays an important part, which is actually funny. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of like tuned in a little bit to the show you did yesterday, and you was talking about family life and being a single parent. And I can sit here and say I have not been the best of people when it came to relationships, the relationships with the mother of my children. But it took growing up to know when to be there and not hold my issues with them and let the kids be like the collateral damage to it. So my youngest son, he's a senior now, 17, he loves and hates high school right now, loves it because he's back in school, ready to finish up the year, hate it because it's virtual. So you're missing that aspect of rocking out the other kids. My oldest just turned 20. And that was one of the hardest relationships to get back right, because I was gone so much from his life. And when we tried to get it back together, it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. But then I still tried. That's the thing. I still tried. I didn't let it be what it was and go from there. And he came down and visited for the first time actually this January. Saw his younger brother, because they saw each other when they were younger. And they haven't seen each other for like that a good amount of time. I think he was 7 and Jalen was 4, I believe. So they haven't seen each other since then. So like 17 to 20 now, they've seen each other. It's a beautiful thing. And then we just recently had a whole conversation a couple of days ago. So And like I said, it's building bridges, man, and like owning up to the mistakes you make, and not like I say, forget the past, because the past is going to always be there, but it's what you do to move forward. Yeah. Because everybody doesn't have that chance, or don't take that chance. Like, they think it is what it is. And like, even a relationship with my own father, that's still rocky. But I still have to like try to be a son to my dad, even when my dad don't. I think my dad's still stuck, because I'm like stuck on me being a kid still. And I think that's where the issue lies at. But it's family, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you love your family, you hate your family, but they're always going to be family. It just depends on the route you want to take with it. I hold no ill will towards family. I can't allow myself to. And then especially with a tragedy that happened earlier last year, or the summer of last year, with the son that passed away. It's been, like I said, it's always more factors added, but it's stuff that I let out in time and stuff I heal with. So so that's what makes family, like, family is more important. Like, family became important to me, but family is more important now, because you never know what's going to happen, especially with situations like random occurrences, the current atmosphere of what's going on with this country, especially now, because we're getting close to the election, because now you don't know what's going to happen with the election, and just everything that's been going on since then. So you have to like be careful, hold the ones you got close, and let them know that. Like, you can't wait till the last minute to give people their flowers, man. You can't. I know that's a lot, so I'm sorry.
No. Listen. So this show is about you, bro. This show is about you. I don't. If I don't talk the whole time, that's good. So that's definitely not too much. I think that one of the things that I liked, one of the reasons why I picked most of the men that I respect and that I have some love or admiration for to come on in the beginning part of the shows, because I want to have these kind of talks. I'm tired of people saying what black men say, what black men do, what black men hear. My lighting is horrible. I don't know why.
Well, no, but, I got lamps everywhere. So
normally I'm good right here, but today it's just in and out. But I get sick of people telling black men what they feel and how they feel. And I wanted to be on here with just brothers that I respect, just to say, look, we're human, we make mistakes, but we can grow from it, and say it in their own way. So I don't have a whole bunch of questions, because I always want, my guests to be able to say what they want to say, what I'm saying, and how they feel. And, because you've had plenty of interviews, whether it was with a podcast, whether it was a media person, they ask you these damn questions. It's like, that's not what I want to talk about.
Exactly.
I always let my guests, I tell my guests, if you want to do a poem, you'll say, hey, let me do a poem. I'm not asking you to do no damn poem.
Oh, no. So real quick, I'm going to put this out to the people. So if Ja hits you up to get on his show and just talk. Like, I didn't, like, when he hit me up, I was like, good, I don't have to do no poems. I was like, I just want to talk. Like, I love this. Like, because you get to know people and not so much poems. Like, I got to do poems like almost all week, this whole week. So I'm like, this is a breath of fresh air, because I got to do something later on tonight when it's poems in a good way. But it's just, I'm on something where you just want to talk. Like, we don't do that enough. Like, even when you go to poetry conventions, you see people, and you only can sit down and talk to the people you want to talk to for a matter of days, because after that convention's over, depending on where you stay, you're not going to talk to them again in a while, unless y'all got y'all phone numbers, or y'all follow each other on social media to comment every now and then. But to physically, even in this aspect, talk to somebody, it's rare when you can do it, because everybody is busy, more so now than ever, because everybody's trying to figure out what the next step's going to be going into the new year.
Yeah. I've learned, when I decided I was going to do this, I was like, all the poets that I come on, I want them to feel like, okay, I could come on and he's not going to ask me to do his favorite poem. He's not going to ask me that, because we don't get to have those conversations. And talking about mental health and things like that is the stuff that we need to do. Our community needs it. Yeah, you know what I mean, like they need poetry too. But guess what? We're giving them poetry every day. How many times we could just say, yo, let's just kick it, drink some coffee or some tea, and let's just talk about whatever. We don't get to do that. So
this is all tea. Peppermint tea.
Listen, I have my coffee in the morning. I don't drink it all throughout the day like I used to, but I'm getting my coffee in the morning. That's my only medicine. I don't take Advil or Aleve, nothing for my headaches, nothing for the pain from the bullet wounds, none of that. I drink coffee, and if coffee don't fix it, I'm just gonna be in trouble for the rest of that day. So
you remind me of my boy APE, because he loves coffee like it's water.
Yeah,
man, it's crazy,
bro. I think once it's in you, it is what it is. I don't know how to get from it. I hate my lighting is killing me. Okay, so we got 10 minutes left, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you one question, and then I want you to just feel free to share whatever you want to share.
Okay.
The circle of trust. You got 5 people in your circle of trust that have to be in your circle of trust. And if it's not 5, that's fine. But at least 5 that you got to have in your circle of trust. They could be here with us now, or they could not be, here now. But just whoever that 5 people might be in your circle of trust.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so my wife, Monica Haynes Bowens, that is my best friend. That is my ace. That's like the yin to my yang until we both are wanted the same. I know that kind of rhymed. I started laughing when I caught it. That's what I was like. But yeah, my wife, my best friend, Keith Masters. He is a person I served in the military with. He is literally like my little brother. He literally is like a light-skinned version of me, just more uninhibited. So that's why. My mother, because my mother, I will just be 2. My mother and my grandmother. My grandmother passed, but my mother and my grandmother, because I confide in them. I confide in both of them a lot. Yeah. My mom more so now, because at one point when my mom moved to Michigan, I stayed with my grandmother. Wow. But the relationship has always still been there with my mom. And then the older I got, when things started happening, my mom gave me advice. It was weird because it was like, oh man, I'm going to a whole tangent. So when I stayed with my grandmother as a teenager, it literally was, I guess, it was weird because that was my person I trusted with a lot of stuff. And then my grandma passed like 2010. But then the older I got, the more I started building more of a close relationship with my mom, because my mom, like I said, there was never no ill will with me and my mom. But but I stayed with my grandma a little bit longer than I stayed with my mom during that time. But my mom now is like, oh my God, I love my mom. So, but yeah, man. And then I think my 5th person, dang. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2. I'm gonna give you 6. I'm gonna give you 6. Yogi, because I mentioned her earlier. We grew up in this game together, like this poetry game together. We started from the bottom. Now we're here. But we started the poetry game, and we became friends since then. 2007 up to now. That's like literally my sister. Like anything that I'm a part of, I have her be a part of, and vice versa here. And I trust her. I trust her with my life. And Dasana Hanu, because Dasana Hanu has helped me through a lot of stuff people don't even know.
Gotcha.
I'll put it like this: Dasana Hanu is the reason why people should be happy that they're safe. So, because Omi would have did stuff, but I'm a lot older now. And I'm being right with myself and the Most High. So, yeah, man, that'd be my circle. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's people I'm leaving out, but right. So those are there. They're there. So, and Shadow. I can't forget.
Oh man, actually, Shadow's gonna be on here Thursday with me.
Yeah, tell him I said what's up.
Lance gonna be on here tomorrow.
Oh, that's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope.
I did CIAA for the first time. I was against doing CIAA for a minute because I didn't like the way CIAA was working. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the fact that they let all of these out of town promoters come in and then have free range to do whatever, and then they cast the in-town promoters out. But I did my first poetry event for CIAA. I bought Desan and Obi West.
Nice.
Oh man. Now, mind you, the venue messed up everything, but it still turned out to be dope. I had Jay Ward on the card, my brother Witz, of course, In So Many Words, but she had emergency, had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
It was, man, it was an amazing show. I loved it, bro. I loved it. I have a lot of love and respect for Deshaun. I wasn't a Lil Wayne fan, never have been. But we was in, I think it was Southern Fried.
I know where this is going. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Deshaun broke down one of his verses for a workshop, and I was like, yo, I need to at least listen to Wayne a little bit more. And at that point, I was like, yeah, Deshaun is on a different level with his stuff. Yeah. So I'm gonna get him on here one of these days too. So he's gonna come on. I'm gonna get him on.
Oh yeah, man. He's definitely somebody to get on there, man. But yo, bro, this is dope, bro. I know I said it earlier, but appreciate you inviting me to be a part of the coffee table talk. I like it. I like the coffee and conversation. I love it, man. This is dope.
I have some ideas that are going to stem from this, but it's one of those things, you know, you got to test the waters and see what it is and see what it can grow to. I have some, you know, I always got some ideas for something, right? I got some ideas that's coming up that I want to do, and I want to be able to incorporate a lot of the conversations and talks that we have. But here's the thing, what I tell people all the time: don't worry about what people are going to take away from what you give. Just keep giving. Because at the end of the day, if you keep giving, you'll find that cushion where you're supposed to be giving to the most, and you'll be able to pull from that for the rest of your life. And that's the key, just to bring together what I need and pull what I need from that to make that next best thing. If we are not helping our children, we're in trouble. And that is one thing.
Bro. Purpose over popularity.
Yeah, man. So look, we got 4 minutes. Well, we got 3 minutes. IG is going to end up. IG, I'm coming back to talk about the show, so just stick with me. I'll be back after the show is over. Thank y'all so much. As always, do whatever you do today to be greater than you was yesterday. Find a way to love yourself starting right now. If you can't love you, the world will never know how to love you. So start with loving yourself and teach them how to love you. And y'all be good. I'll see y'all in a minute. LJ, you got about 2 minutes to give us whatever you want to do, whatever you want to talk about. Just gonna give it to us.
All I need. Once again, everybody, thank y'all so much for tuning in. My name is LJ Bowens. If you would like to follow me on any social media, you can follow me on Facebook at EL''JA Bowens. Easiest way to find me on Twitter and Instagram will be LJ Poetry, ELJA Poetry, all one word. And I had a book that recently just came out called 310, A Poetic Journey Through Life Hacks. Poetry plus life hacks equals a great book. You need to buy that. You can buy it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any online major retailer, or you can go to our website, which is Poetry in Motion NC, poetry, the letter N, motion NC.vistaprintdigital.com. That's all I have as far as all the stuff I got going on. And once again, thank you to Coach Josh Smalls for this wonderful show. And I'm glad I could be here. And always remember, guys, purpose over popularity. That's why we're here.
Awesome. Well, listen, LJ, man, it's always an honor to have you in the building, bro. You know, I have a lot of respect for you. I appreciate all the moves that you made. I appreciate being able to watch you move. You know, there's a lot of people that do things and then we never really get to see them growing in their thing or what their love is for what they do. But I've seen so many different aspects of how you move. I'm gonna tell you, you be on your grind, bro.
I appreciate it.
When we went to Louisville and we found out that you was going to be hosting our match, I was like, man, that was so dope. In fact,
I had a blast.
And you know, that was our second year, right? And it was the first year for Wits. And let me see, I had Wits, it was Shane. It was first year for Wits, first year for Shane, or Riot. Lady V had been there before, and Kia Flow. So it was the first year for two of them. But there was so many rookies in that whole bout. From all, man, we had one of the best bouts ever. And I always tell people, like, when you go to Slam, if you go to Southern Fry, right, follow the rookies. I mean, the old heads are going to be there, right? You're going to get your love for them. I think my first Southern Fry was the best one I had because I got to spend a lot of time with Tavis.
Yeah,
it felt, and I've met Tavis here. I featured him, but it was nothing better than actually spending some time where we could just be us. And we went to amazing, hilarious, the most funniest dudes you're gonna meet, right? LJ, hold on a second. We got about 50 seconds left. I'm just holding the green because I'm gonna talk to you when we go off screen. Okay. Thank you for tuning in so much, man. I really appreciate y'all, all the love and all the support y'all giving. Tell your friends to come through, share the love, share the posts, share everything, share the event. Got a lot more coming up, a lot of more guests in store. find a way to make sure you loving you today. You are the most important person for you to love, because if you don't love you, there's no way you can love anybody else or even accept love. So thank y'all for tuning in. We will see y'all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. It's going down, same place, same time. Much love to y'all. Respect from the coach. Peace.